to the spot like Phil Collins sang it. Fresh new fade with the mustache banging. I know you want to know where the fuck I'm from.
Check it out real quick. Today we got a special guest, Paul. Paul, we're gonna start from. I mean, I know you're a personal trainer now, but I wanted to start from the beginning. We're gonna sum it up real quick. But where'd you grow up at?
I grew up here in San Jose.
Right. Okay, I seen that tattoo in your profiles. What part of San Jose did you grow up at?
I grew up over on the west side off of San Carlos.
Okay. So did you grow up in like the system? And like, did you start off? Because I know you went to prison, but did you start off in like juvenile hall or anything like that before?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like I was born in San Mateo. I went to elementary school in Fremont, and then we moved out to Arizona with our dad. And then at 15 years old, we came to San Jose with our mom. So I always say I grew up in San Jose because that's where I really feel I grew up. And that's when I started getting incarcerated at 15, going in and out the juvenile system, juvenile hall, boys' homes, from 15 to 18.
Okay, so that's when your little crime spree started then.
Yes, sir.
As an adult, did you go straight to prison the first time you got in trouble?
No, I went to county jail like 3 different times, and then when I was 18, I went to prison. No, I was 19. I went to prison for the first time.
When you were 19?
Yep, and I did 3.5 on that one.
Okay.
Got out, was out for like 9 months, and then I caught the next case, which I was looking at 27 years. I ended up doing 10 on.
All right. Well, what I want to ask is, when you first went to county jail, did you like what? Because I know you was rocking with the with the homies and stuff. Like, did you start that in county jail, or was that in juvenile hall? Or
I kind of started that in county jail. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was just like one of the. Because I remember when I was in there, like they would when they asked certain people, and certain people would just be like, because if the tattoos are identifying or something like that, but some people just didn't know whether to say yes or no, and they just end up, falling into that, category and stuff. Was that anything? Is that how?
So like what happened with me basically was going in and out of juvenile hall and the boys' homes. Like, I'm white, but I grew up in a Hispanic neighborhood, and I have a black stepdad, right? So I didn't really vibe with the white boys in there, right? One time I had a cellie that had a swastika on his leg, and I ended up getting down with them because I didn't believe that thought process.
Right.
And I ended up getting set up with a homie in juvenile hall. Oh, okay. And so that's kind of the first little taste of the homie life I kind of got.
Yeah,
right?
okay. Yeah, that's what I was getting at, because something had to pull you towards that way,
Yeah.
And because that had to be rough, because when you started going to prison, like, how was that? Rocking with the,
It was easy.
Well,
I mean, honestly, the homies show a lot of love.
Right.
Right? It doesn't matter.
So if they embrace you, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Once you're a homie, you're a homie. Like, there's nobody else going to say anything about it.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe because you had that San Jose tattoo, or did you get that in there?
I got that in there.
Oh, okay. So what did you get busted for?
On the last time?
Yeah, the last one when you did. Let's backtrack. What'd you go to prison for the first time?
The first time I went to prison for, I got raided over in Sunnyvale, and I got caught with about a quarter pound of dope, a bunch of chemicals because I was stepping on it, and 2 pistols.
Oh shit!
And so when I got raided, they actually charged me for manufacturing controlled substance because like I was getting a quarter, and then I was stepping on it and making it a half, right? So I had a bunch of stuff in glass jars, basically drying out,
Yeah.
And so I got raided, and they got that, and they got the guns, and so I went to prison.
So how many felonies was that?
They got me for manufacturing a controlled substance, which is a felony. They got me for felon in possession of firearm because I was already a felon.
Right.
Felon in possession of a firearm, which is a felony, and then probation violation, which is also a felony.
And this is your first prison term?
That was my first prison term.
Damn. Okay, and what'd you do, 3.5 with that?
Yeah, so they gave me 3.5, and I did 19 months off that.
Damn, that's not bad. And then how long was you? Did you stay out on that one?
I stayed out 9 months.
9 months, and then what was that case about?
Yeah, so I stayed out for 9 months, and then what ended up happening is while I was running the streets doing what we do, I was dating with a bunch of different girls, and then I had an issue with one of the girls' cousin. And so what ended up happening was me and her had an argument, split our ways. I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go find this cousin. Like, I was pissed, and I was trying to take out my aggression on the cousin. I drove by his house, he wasn't there, someone else was mean mugging the car, so I hopped out on this person, and I basically got in a verbal altercation with them, threw the gloves on, was like, saying stupid stuff that we don't want to be saying to people.
Yeah.
Basically threatened to kill him, made him lay down on the ground. I banged on him, which was pretty stupid of me.
Right.
And I drove away. right? So nothing actually transpired, but what ended up happening, he knew the cousin that I was looking for. So he went across the street, like, hey, this guy's looking for you, gave him my nickname, gave him, oh yeah, that's my cousin's boyfriend or whatever. He'd be running around with guns, he'd be gangbanging, all this stuff. Then he gave up my information. So I went to my girlfriend, who became my wife. I went to her house, stayed the night at her house that night, and the next morning I woke up with a bunch of missed calls from my mom and my brother that the police had raided my house at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
For what? What was the charges?
So the charge was assault with a firearm, right? So basically, dude said
because you pointed at him and laid him down.
So that's allegedly.
Damn.
Yeah. So basically, what happened was I didn't have a firearm on that exact incident, right?
Okay.
And I talk about this all the time because, like, on that exact incident, I didn't commit the full crime that I was charged, but I've committed that crime before, right? So I believe something.
Was that documented for that case, or was just it doesn't have nothing to do with it?
What do you mean?
You said you actually did that crime before.
I've committed the same types of crimes,
but you didn't
before.
get busted for it.
Never.
Okay, no, but so with this particular one, like what actions took place that you did that got you sentenced for that?
Yeah, so the exact actions that took place, basically, I threw the gloves on, told dude, let's get down. He didn't want to get down. I was like, all right, then lay the fuck down on the ground. I laid him on the ground to basically exert dominance over him. Like, show him.
You didn't have no gun on you?
No gun.
So how the fuck they going to charge you with that?
I mean, San Jose, first off. But
damn.
So what ended up happening, so here's what happened. So they raided my house. And when
hold on, before you keep talking, this is good shit, because you see, like, for the youngsters, because you're inspiring now, right? We're going to get to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But for the youngsters that ain't knowing, like, this is all it takes. You know what I'm saying?
They'll wash you.
Yeah.
And so what happened was, here's the catch. Dude went to the cousin across the street, told the cousin, hey, this guy's looking for you. Here's his name. The cousin basically, I mean, this is my belief system, but the cousin knew I was running around with guns and knew what kind of gun I had at the time, right? They used the story. So basically they said I cocked a shotgun. Said I pulled a shotgun out and cocked it, aimed him at him, laid him down, told him I was going to kill him.
Oh,
okay. So they raided my house and they found shotgun shells.
So because if you were like a career criminal already, like, you know, you're already juvenile hall and then you already went to prison already one time, you just didn't feel good enough you probably didn't have the money to fight this or anything like that, right?
Definitely didn't have the money.
So you kind of just like, obviously you had a public defender. Damn, because I mean, you have to have proof that you had a gun to get charged with that kind of shit, you know?
So the proof that they used basically, and I did fight it actually. I did take it to court, right? I took it to trial. But the proof that they had was the ammunition they found at my house and the fact that I have a history of guns.
And that's the only proof. Like if the shoe fits, wear it or some shit. Like if he walks like a duck, he talks like a duck.
Exactly.
Chances are he might be a duck.
Yes,
damn.
sir.
And so they got you for that one charge that you laid him down allegedly with the firearm.
Yeah.
And then they just get you like for an assault, like.
So I got assault with the firearm. I got terrorist threats. Two charges of terrorist threats for saying I was going to kill him. Gun enhancements for all those charges. Possession of ammunition, possession of weapons, because when they raided my house, they found some like a bat and like some random things, you know.
Yeah, your priors fucked you up, huh?
Yep. And then a parole violation.
Yeah. So damn. So what they sentence you to?
So they sentenced me to 10 years with 85%. And
you did?
I did 10 years, 1 month.
Damn. Okay, so now you're in prison, sitting there. I mean, like, the first time you went to prison, did you have any kind of any like time that you felt like you wanted to change your life?
To an extent, right?
So you were still young-minded?
I was still young. I was still hard-headed, right? But like for me, my idea of changing my life was like I was gonna get out and like just not go back to hanging with the certain people I was hanging out with before.
So you didn't have a plan.
I didn't have a plan at all.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking for everybody.
Yeah.
So the second time you went to prison, did it take you the whole 10 years to finally come up with the plan, or did you already learn your lesson the first year?
It took me 9 years to finally come up with a plan.
Right. So you had to grow.
A lot.
Because you're 38 right now.
Yeah.
So you had to grow. Damn, see. You know, that's what I try to explain to my like my family a lot, you know, especially my sons. It's like a lot of us think that we're grown, and I'm speaking with experience. I didn't start realizing that I was growing until I reached like 32.
Yeah.
And then because I started being concerned about my health and stuff. Like, hey man, like fuck, I'm about to be 40, and I know people die at these kind of ages and shit. You know, things started getting real for me then. But so it took you. Okay, so you're in that predicament. You're doing that time, and you started coming up with. Did you come up with the plan inside prison?
I did.
Right. Okay.
I did. So like for me, like during those 10 years, like 9 of those 10 years. Well, let me rewind a little bit. I started that prison term off thinking I wanted to do good until I got to prison and got around certain individuals and decided maybe I just want to make a name for myself and be someone. Right. So I started getting myself in more situations than I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is basically in and out of different situations that I was involved in while incarcerated. It's just after a while I got tired of it. I got tired of it, you know? And so like 9 years in, I just woke up one morning and I was just like, I'm done with this, you know? And so I started making some changes. I started going to school. I started like, you know, doing little classes and everything. And I started reading the self-help books, personal development books, and just focusing on bettering myself. And then I started getting books from the library, like business books. Yeah. And I wrote out a business plan, what I'm going to do when I got out.
Yeah. So did the homies support this?
They did.
Okay. So you stayed on good standings the whole time?
Absolutely.
Okay, well shit. That's excellent. So with your plan and how was you able to like escape the reality in there and come up with this plan?
I mean, honestly, one of the biggest ways to escape the reality was through exercise. Right. Okay. And so if we rewind a little bit, one thing I found throughout those 10 years is I was really good at working out. I read a lot of books, a lot of magazines. I became like someone people went to for advice on fitness. Yeah. Right. I would make plans for people. I would work out with different guys on the yard. I literally to this day, I work out with one of my homies. He's from Fremont. I literally just worked out with him yesterday in the gym, and I taught him how to do pull-ups in Susanville on the level 3 yard. Right. I helped him lose about 25 pounds during that time. Right. We worked out, we ran. Like I always call him my first client. Right. Yeah. I say he's my first client, and now he's just my boy, and we just work out together. I mean, and to like rewind it a little bit, like honestly, there was portions of my time in there where I was messing up. Right. I was using drugs when I wasn't supposed to be. Right. And I got some trouble. For that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, I did really well until my mom died. Right. And when my mom died, I kind of stopped caring. Okay. Right. So I really didn't care. Like,
gave you a reason to say fuck you, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And so I started using. I was at fire camp, actually. I ended up getting to fire camp, and everything is flooded there. Right. So I was running stuff in. I was doing my thing. But then I started to use it, and I started to use more, and I started to use more. And on multiple occasions, I got in some trouble for it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said let's back it up, because I think we got ahead of ourselves, because we got all the way to the 9 years, and you create this plan, but there was a lot of things you went through before you got there.
It was a lot.
So you were actually like thinking like a youngster. You were raising your hand a lot, right? Uh-huh. Okay, and you were assisting and stuff like that. Did you at any time assist that it almost got you a new charge?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, you don't have to speak about it, but there's a chances you could have took, and you didn't. Did you take a chance, and did you ignore the fact that you're a 2-striker and you could never get out again?
A couple times.
You made that mistake a couple times, right?
Yeah.
Damn, it's that easy. But damn, so you got involved with the drugs. I mean, how'd you shake that?
I mean, honestly, it was a couple rounds of like getting in trouble. Okay, like to the point where, and here's the messed up part. It was kind of to the point where like they were tired of me. Right. I got in some situations, right? Yeah. And I got in a situation that, I had to bounce back from.
Right.
And for me personally, like without going too in depth on it, I'm not one to go out ass backwards. Right. So I got hands put on me. Right. I got smashed on, and I came back.
So would you say the strict program the homies have kind of helped and motivate you for your success today?
I say yes.
Okay. Well, there's some positive in that.
Yeah, definitely, because it taught me discipline.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So, man, you made it through prison. Was there any other things you want to talk about that you went through while that's a lot of time. That's a lot of fucking time. Was there any other thing you want to talk about? You mentioned a couple people you did some time with, that we kind of are familiar with.
Yeah.
You got any stories you want to tell?
Oh yeah. So like during all the time, I know you had Gato Mas Loco on the podcast. You know, that's the homie right there. We was in Susanville together, and we used to work out together. He's a big boy, so we used to put him on the shoulders and squat. It'd be me, him, Joe from Morgan Hill, and then my boy Lucky from Fremont. That's still the guy that I work out with now.
And that's a lot of weight to be putting on your, squatting.
We was trying to get swole, man. Yeah. You know, we get, when you're in there, like, you got to think outside the box, especially when you have goals,
Yeah. Shout out to the homie Gato.
Right.
Yeah, man. And you said you mentioned earlier there was another homie that you was in there with that sings.
Oh yeah. So and your boy said that he's done some recording for his name is Chin Chin from Salinas.
Yeah, I did a song with him too.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I just reconnected with him through Instagram.
Okay.
So shout out to Chin Chin, man. I'm gonna come see your show soon.
Shout out to the homie.
Right.
But at any time where you were sitting in the pen, I mean, keep it real, man. This is like the audience wants to see the real shit.
Absolutely.
Did you ever just sit there and get real sad and break down and cry?
One time.
Why was that? Like what?
So first off, I got to say that you can't really cry in there.
Well, yeah,
there's no opportunity.
There's nowhere to run and hide. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But I had a moment. So I was at fire camp, right? And my mom was really sick. She was really sick, and I knew she didn't have much time left. And we were all getting ready to go to work that day, and I heard like over the loudspeaker, Casey come down to the office, and like at that moment, like I knew like in my heart like she was gone.
Right.
I knew it, right? Yeah. So I went down there and they told me I'm in the office. There's a CO. There's no homies. Nobody can see me. Right. And I broke down right there in that office. And they told me what happened. I just let it as much as I could out.
Right. That was the only chance you had.
And then they're like, we're going to give you the day off of work, this and that. And I was like, thank you. And then like I had to clean up,
Yeah,
right. And I went to the little gym area and I just worked down and hit the bag and I turned it into anger. Right. Okay. So I took that sadness because you can't show that in prison. You can't. Right. That's weakness. A lot of people believe that's weakness. I don't believe that anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of people in there believe that a man shouldn't cry. So if a man shouldn't cry, then I can't cry because I don't want to show weakness while incarcerated.
Yeah, I don't believe in that's weakness. That's a sense that that God gave us. Without that sense, you'd be retarded.
Absolutely.
But was there any times that you seen people in there break down and cry and they couldn't hold it? Because there has to be some people in there that really love their family. That not everybody in there is just not giving a fuck.
Absolutely. I've seen it happen.
You see some shit like that. What is the craziest thing you've seen in the penitentiary?
I don't want to talk about that.
Okay. I mean, well, I mean, we all heard the worst case, stories and stuff, okay, well, so let's talk about what really motivated you to start. So at your 9th year, you started creating this program.
Yeah.
And your goal, did you whatever you're doing now, did you come up with that goal in the pen?
To an extent. Okay. But it's changed. It's evolved over time.
Okay.
Right. So basically, like for me, one big thing is I found myself. Remember, like I said, I was messing up in there, and I was using drugs, and I wasn't supposed to be using drugs, and I actually found myself addicted to heroin in there. Right. And I've never done heroin on the streets, never once. Right. I've only done it in prison. Okay. And I woke up one day. The homies were tired of my shit. I was tired of my shit. I looked myself in the mirror. My cheek. I actually just posted this picture recently on Instagram that I took while I was in there. I looked like a fucking zombie.
I seen that shit.
Right. I looked like I was like.
Looks like he's on the streets, smack back.
Yeah. I looked like I was like 50 years old. My cheeks were sunken in, black rings around my eyes, and I was just like, "Bro, this ain't you."
Yeah.
And at that moment, I made a conscious decision that I wanted to change. Right.
Yeah.
And I actually went to one of the other homies that like we didn't see eye to eye because my thought process and his thought process were different, right? And he went to church, he went to school, he went to construction class, right? He's actually a homie from here in San Jose, right? His name's Fernando, right? And he's a solid ass dude. But I didn't see eye to eye with him because I was on a different trip,
Yeah.
And so I went up to him. I was like, "Bro, I need some help." And he's like, "I got you." And I latched onto him and started doing all the positive things he was doing.
Right.
So I latched onto someone positive, started doing positive things in my life. And because of that, I was able to change the trajectory of my life.
That's good.
And so that last year, I really focused. I focused. Like I sold my TV. I got rid of distractions. I just worked out. I read. I wrote. I did my little program, whatever was expected of me, and I just pushed forward for the final year.
Okay.
And so I built this plan of what I wanted to do when I got out. Personal training was part of it. Initially, what I wanted to do was create a mobile gym where we basically would build a gym inside of like a large trailer and take it around to different places and train people in it.
Damn, that's good shit. So, you know, that's funny about the heroin thing. Well, not funny, but it's interesting because I talked to a lot of people, a lot of relatives and friends throughout the years, and when I hear people complain about the relatives in there strung out on dope, I sympathize with them, the people that's strung out on dope, because I'm like, just to, you know, what I was talking to you about a case earlier, just the thought of having to, you know, go back to that, you know, lifestyle and, you know, being locked up and incarcerated is enough to drive me crazy. You know what I mean? So for people to know that they're never coming home, like, I don't blame them for trying to find a way out and do some dope, you know?
Absolutely.
But I know the guys who are doing live probably looked at you like, you think you got a long time, but you got a date.
Yeah.
Right? But they're probably looking at you like that. But damn, I mean, to me, I think, you know, what you went through, I don't give a shit spending one day in those places, and it's not a good thing. So to spend that long, 10 years, that's life changing. You know what I'm saying? That could really mess with somebody's brain. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure you still got a lot of effects from that, you know?
Most definitely.
Yeah, because I mean, I spent a lot of time in, you know, growing up in the systems and stuff like that, and it's just some things from back then I still never shake, you know. But that's positive. But your workout routine, man, how's that going now with your personal training?
It's going good. So I was working for a group fitness company, and when the pandemic happened, I kind of forced my hand to start my own business a lot sooner than I had planned. And so the pandemic hit, gym shut down. I started an LLC, a Better You Fitness. I started training people at parks. And during the pandemic, I would train people at parks. I went from parks to my backyard, to my garage, to opening my own facility in Hayward. I now have my own personal training facility. We've been open for about 19 months now. But starting mostly the beginning of this year, last year, I've dove in more into the online space as well.
So that I'm sorry to cut you off, but the LLC, you got an LLC?
I now have an S corp actually. I bumped it into an incorporation.
From the LLC to that?
Yep, and then I have another LLC as well.
So let's talk about that. Can you sum that up? Like the process of that? Like how hard was it to get the LLC?
It wasn't too hard.
So
basically what I did was
people want to know the process.
Yeah, for sure. So basically what I did was when the pandemic hit and the world shut down, I was like, all right, I'm going to start a business. And so I went online and typed in how to start a business. The great thing about Google and all that stuff, like you can just look it all up now, right? And I found a company that's like, oh, we'll start your LLC for like $250. Cool. Really? I paid them $250. They started my LLC for me.
And what was your company that you had for that?
It's called A Better You Fitness.
And so when you got that, you paid the $250?
Yep.
Did you get any loans for that?
No,
nothing.
Nope.
I thought you were like obligated to some stuff like that. You know,
not to start an LLC.
Oh, really?
I mean, anyone can start an LLC. Honestly, It's one of the biggest. It's one of the smartest ways. I tell all my friends that have any thought process. If you have any thought to the audience, if you have a thought that you eventually want to start a business, start an LLC right now. And the reason being is because in order to get loans, get credit, get things like that, you need shelf life. Right. You need to be able to come to a bank and say, hey, I've had an LLC for X amount of months or years.
So because you had an LLC, did your credit rate go up? Did people start sending you credit cards and stuff like that?
Not necessarily.
Because I know when I started my business, I was getting business credit, and my credit like went up.
So what I did was I started the LLC, and then once I started needing to purchase equipment, I used a third-party company to get credit, right? And I worked with that company to get me a bunch of business credit, and I'm actually working with a different company right now to get my other business credit as well.
That's dope. So you went from the LLC to, what was that new thing?
So now I have an S corp. So I'm incorporated, which means
S corp.
S corp.
S corp.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it's basically I have a corporation as opposed to an LLC. So usually an LLC is a small business, right? So it's a solopreneur, like one person, right? Or it could be like a few people. But when you want to build a large enterprise and sometimes have other businesses underneath it, you want to start like an S corp or a C corp.
And with that, you don't get no loans and anything like that. They don't help you out.
No.
So how you supposed to come off your feet if you're just starting this stuff? Like for the people that want to know, like you just paid the $250 and you just started just networking on Instagram, or
Yeah. So I mean, you have you can go get loans if you want to go after it. But I started my business in the middle of pandemic, and they weren't trying to give away money during a pandemic, right? Other than whatever little stimulus checks they were handing out. So what I did is I just started stacking money, right? I used social media to market myself, and I made money training people up at parks. So I'm training someone at a park. I'm not paying for a gym membership. They're not paying for a gym membership. It's all basically a free space, and I'm just giving my skill set and my motivation.
Swole at parks, son.
Absolutely, I did it in fucking prison my whole, like almost my whole life, from juvenile hall all the way through.
That's some real shit. You really don't need a facility.
Absolutely, and I'm a firm believer. Honestly, like I'm a firm believer. If you believe it enough in yourself and it's important enough to you, you'll make it happen.
Right.
So like my second business is motivational speaking. Okay. And so I've spoken in juvenile halls. I've spoken in boys' homes.
Wait, hold on. So how'd you get into juvenile halls? Because I've been interested in that for years.
Well, then I'll connect you with some people.
Okay, cool.
But basically what I did is networking, right? So my social media is my biggest tool.
All right.
I hear so many people say all the time, I don't like social media. If you have the opportunity to impact hundreds of thousands of lives, but you don't take that opportunity, I believe it's selfish. Right? I have a story. You have a story. Everyone has a story that could impact someone else's life. And social media is the key to doing that.
I would like to get in there, man, and make an impact and, do some things, because I'm not, the only thing I could do is relate to these people. I put myself back when I was in juvenile hall in the 80s. In the late 80s, I was juvenile, 10 years old my first time. Everybody that I was talking to, only a couple people I felt comfortable to talk to because they related to me.
Yeah.
As far as the staff. Because everybody else, they got a degree in this and degree in that, but they don't got a degree in me. You know what I'm saying? Like the way to have that is to actually go through it. So I know I could see eye to eye with a lot of those youngsters and to get them to open up to me and then just help them out. Like, hey, well, give them some advice. That's how it starts.
So it's actually really cool. The first juvenile facility I spoke at was called Pine Grove Juvenile Fire Camp. I'm actually going up there again in March.
Where's that at?
Right. It's up in Pine Grove. I forgot where. It's like 3 hours from where I live.
Was up north?
It's by like outside of Stockton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like an hour away from Stockton.
Okay.
It's like northeast from where I live, kind of. But it's a fire camp, right? So that's probably one of the easiest places to get. And I have a connection for you. I'll reach out to her and tell her I got, and probably a bunch of the kids in there probably heard your music before,
Yeah.
But so this woman that I know, she connected me there. So the first time I went to the Pine Grove Fire Camp, and I was in fire camp for 2 years. So I remember it's basically just like an adult fire camp. So I walked in, there was kind of a scary situation because it was like, shit, I'm back. Like I've been in those exact bunks. But just like you said, like I was able to go stand in front of these guys, and they're used to like these COs and these counselors that come in and talk to them, and they got degrees and this and that. And I was able to come in and be like, that bunk right there, I've slept on that bunk.
Right.
That weight room you guys work out, I've worked. Those fires you guys go on, I've been on those fires. I've ran a chainsaw. I know what it's like. Right. I know what it's like to be a slave to the system. And I was able to share with them. But not only that, I brought books for them.
So they'll listen to you.
Yeah.
Because you relate.
I brought books for them, same books that I had when I was incarcerated that helped shift my mindset on certain things, right? Cool. I went and brought those books for them and gave them to them. Here's the best part about it, bro. After I was done talking to them and like asking if they had any questions, they were kind of shy to ask questions and everything. Like, all right, that's cool. Really what it is one guy doesn't want to look dumb in front of his homeboy if we're asking a question. Cool. But what happened was at the end, I was like talking to my friend that got me in there, and one of the CEOs came over and he's like, "Hey man, they want to know if I could open the gym. Would you go show them some stuff?" I'm like, hell yeah, So I got to go in there and like show them like that's now I got to show them, man. I got to show them a better way, and that's awesome. And now so I've done that once, and then I've been in the juvenile hall twice, and then I'm going back out there again in March.
That's tight, man. Damn. So you're a real success, man, and that's what I want on this platform is people to come out. We start off with talking about how you went through hell, and never ever gonna glamorize it. Nope. You know what I mean? But we have to mention it because we have to show where you come from. It's not like you're just somebody that. Cause people don't want to just listen to somebody, and I don't know. For me, when somebody starts talking, I automatically think this guy's trying to play me. So, when you learn where this person comes from, you kind of like, feel comfortable to talk to them and hear what they got to say.
Absolutely.
You know, so that helps out for the audience. You know, when you talk about the business, you're making money. Like here you are, this dope fiend in like in the pen, you know, riding with the homies and shit. Now you're over here successful. You know what I mean? Like you weren't supposed to make it out. A lot of CEOs looked at you like this fool's never gonna get home.
Absolutely.
I bet that ran through a lot of CEOs' mind and shit.
And you know what? Here's the craziest part is now due to social media, I've reconnected with individuals I was incarcerated with, and many of them were like, "Damn, bro, like we're hella proud of you." And I'm talking about like homies that like, you know, they got names, they got you know, they're important, you know, they're factors, and they're like, "Damn, bro, like we're proud of you, good job." You know, like I got an OG homie down in Tulare County that he had his son start following me, right? And he's like, his son was like, "Man, OG always talks about you. He always talks about you, how you guys were in Soledad together, and like how you know, like you had all these plans and said you're gonna do all these things, and then you're actually doing it, you know?" And that feels good, you know, because there's a lot of homies that don't want to see us succeed.
I know what that feels like, because I had over the years several homies, OGs, hit me up, be like, "Hey, homie, I'm gonna share something with you," and they'll be like, "You're the only homeboy rapper I let my kids listen to." And I'm like, "Why?" You know, and it's, I mean, like, because you're actually breaking down, because they actually relate and they know where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
To understand where what my music is, you have to actually been through some shit. You know, not necessarily have to go to prison. You just go through some shit. You know, like there's prison in the streets. You know? There's some
absolutely.
shit. You know, and and it makes me feel good, man. So so I know what you know, like how you feel about that. You know, they're telling you like, "Hey, man, you're doing good," and you know, you're feeling it. It's from the heart, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's good shit.
And those are the ones that you knew, like even like for myself, those are the ones I knew while I was incarcerated that actually cared about me. Because there's a lot of times they don't care about you; they just care about what you're willing to do.
Right.
You know,
right.
But there's a select
and there's nothing
few.
wrong with that. I mean, they're there to survive, and you know, and it's
absolutely.
like, you know, it goes both ways. Like if I'm there and I'm there doing all day, I'm like, I don't got time to hear about all this or your feelings. It's just kind of hard. Like we're not meant to sit there and be empathetic for every person that comes around us and stuff.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
If you sit back and get some information from some of those guys, they will open up. I'm sure. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that means a lot to you, man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, anything else you want to cover? I mean, as far as, you know, what you plan, talk to the audience, man, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, so the biggest thing that's pretty awesome is that like I'm really building out this motivational speaking platform, right? So I have a podcast myself. I got about 17 episodes out, right? On top of that, I have an event next month in Castro Valley where we're basically I got 12 speakers coming from all around the country to come speak on my stage. I'm throwing it. It's my event, right? Shit. And it's a personal development growth event all about overcoming adversity, right? And I've got an amazing array of human beings that are coming out to support this cause, right? On top of that, 50% of all proceeds is going to Feeding America, so we can raise 1 million meals for Feeding America. Starting March 1st, my friend Zune is running from LA to New York. He's running from LA to New York, across the whole country. He's raising 1 million meals, and my company and myself have attached ourselves to this cause.
Damn.
Yep. So I'm running from LA to Arizona with him in March.
Man. That's interesting. So do you get paid to go do, you know, like to speak at places?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I will be. I will be. Right now I'm building for the future legacy.
I seen the other day you were up and close with Wes Watson.
Yes. I was just out there in Miami just a few days ago.
That's dope, man. You know, I like Wes Watson. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say I'm a fan of his, but I support what he does.
I really respect the fact. I mean, he did 10 years just like me. And I told him that. I was like, "Bro, I did 10 years just like you." And he literally was like, "I'm glad you're home." Right. That's what he said.
Right.
And then he said, "Why am I not working with them?" You know, and you know, like I respect that. You know, he's a certain type of person. You know, and you know, not everyone sees eye to eye with that type of aggressiveness, but his market loves it. Yeah. Right, he's making a lot of money, so he's helping. And you know, I actually had someone hit me up and was like, "Hey, bro, like I heard all these things about Wes Watson." I said, "Okay, well, I know like 30 people that are working with him and doing really good in their business because of it." So you heard that he's ripping people off.
So they're bringing the negatives.
Yeah. Like you heard he's ripping people off and doing people scandalous. But I know people personally that work with him and make money off working with him. That's just like
the streets, man. What the fuck are you benefiting off telling me that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, did you get sent by somebody? Are you getting paid for this? Like, what is this about? You know what I mean? Like, this guy's doing something. He's trying to stay positive. You know, why is he in your way? You know what I mean?
So I tell people all the time, I look at Wes, right? And I was like, okay, I love what he does. He shows me that I can do it, but I'm going to do it a little bit different right?
Yeah.
Because I want to help the youth, right? You can't go to a kid and call him all kinds of this and that, like it's not going to work, right? So I got to do it a little bit different, but he's shown that people like us can do it, that it's possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Now, I'm kind of interested, like, he got out the pen. How the fuck did he become a millionaire?
All right, so first off, he started his coaching business in prison, which is pretty impressive.
How did he do that?
On a cell phone. I mean, you do anything with these things
I
nowadays,
think I did
bro.
hear him say something like that.
Yeah, so he was posting videos.
He was telling the truth?
Yeah, he was posting pictures and everything while he was in prison, and he started selling people plans, right? So people would be like, oh, man, you're fucking hella buff. Like, oh, I'll make you a plan. He started selling people plans in prison. So he got that momentum going while he was still in prison, right?
So he got motivated from that.
Super motivated. And he had a very strict regimen in prison. Like I read his book. He talked about how strict his regiment was in prison.
Right.
I even asked him. I literally asked him right there. I got a clip of me talking to him, right? I asked him at that event. I said, yo, Wes, I did 10 years in prison as well. What made you change? Right? Because there was a shift. It was a moment. Because I read his book and he was talking about all these things he was doing in prison that was still getting him in trouble, just like myself, Yeah. And so he said that, like, he got high for the last time. That's what it was for me. I got high for the last time. I was like, I'm done. I'm sick of this, right? So he made that decision and he started focusing on personal development, which is exactly what I did. For me, he just started a little bit earlier than me. That's all, right? So I'm like looking at it like, all right, bro, I'm on the right path. I'm doing exactly what he says he did.
How much money was he making from prison?
I'm not sure. I didn't ask him that.
Damn, that's interesting. So, okay, when he got out, did he get out to a car and a house?
Nope, he got out and was living with his grandma.
Is that right?
Yep.
So he just jumped on social media and went crazy?
He just started going off, right? And he did something that nobody else like us.
Them to do, like speak, speak or what?
What he did was something that nobody else amongst us has ever done, right? He's the first of the kind. Like, I've never seen an ex-con get out of prison and fucking do what he did.
But I still want to know, where did he start? Where'd the money start? Like, when did the money start coming?
Well, if you're the first of your kind, right, you're an anomaly. People are like, oh my God, this is crazy. I want more of this.
Yeah.
Right. And what I found, like,
he's a white boy speaking for the whites, so there's a big audience.
There is a big
audience. And a lot of whites are interested or curious about what's going on inside prison, so they're tuning in.
Absolutely. But what's cool about it is, like, I know a bunch of people that work with him, and they're all high-level entrepreneurs. So that's where the real money comes in.
Right.
He's no longer selling to the lower man on the totem pole. He's selling to the top dogs, right? Okay. So that's where the big money comes in. When you have a client that will pay you $10,000 a month. His masterminds to go to his house for 2 days, and their half days are like $15,000 to $20,000. He has like 10 or 15 people at a time there.
You know what I probably think it is because they see this motherfucker went to hell and back.
Yes.
They're like, we're over here bitching about our life, about whatever the fuck it is, but we think we really have a problem until we really have a real problem. And this dude really had real problems.
Absolutely.
So that's, he's probably like a real good inspiration to a lot of people.
Well, a lot of people can look at the problems he went through, you went through, I went through, and be like, all right, these guys overcame some huge problems, and I'm crying about what? I got a flat tire? Like, if they can overcome that, why can't I overcome this flat tire? And it creates that momentum.
So
it
I
creates
need to
that
talk
mindset
to this guy
shift.
to get my mind off this bullshit.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bro, most of my clients that work with me, they come for fitness, they stay for mindset.
Yeah.
Right? I do coaching calls with my clients, and we talk about mindset all the time. I'm doing a seminar tonight. We're talking about 3 successful tips, how to shift your mindset to be successful, right? How did I go from doing 10 years in prison to having 2 successful businesses now, right? How did Wes Watson do it? Because we shifted our mindset. That's the only thing that changed is the mindset.
Yeah. You know what? The mindset are, we're wired a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Just getting one look at you, I'd be like, I don't need this guy to train me. But after hearing your story, like, I want to get to know this guy. Like, this guy's interesting. You know what I mean? So, your credentials tell a lot, So I think you should continue with that, and not as bragging about it or glamorizing it, but use it as a weapon in your career.
Absolutely.
And I think you'll be successful just like that dude, and you have to use your, your past and, where you come from, it's like, that's your experience.
Yeah. I, during the pandemic, what really helped me build my business is I hired a coach, right? I'm a firm believer. Ever since I started my business, I've had coaches and mentors the entire time. I will pay someone to teach me the next level, right? And I hired this coach. I was just talking this story yesterday because I'm doing business coaching for a few people, right? So I was talking to one of my business clients, right? And his name is Jesus. He's a boxing coach. And I was telling him, I said, Jesus, check this out. You've been afraid to invest in a coach. Now you're investing in me. Let me tell you my story. And I said, I had $3,500 in the bank account. It was the pandemic. I didn't have a job. I hired a coach. He cost $3,000. I empty my bank account to hire this coach. But because I hired him, I learned skill sets and tools that help me leverage myself and my story. Well, what happened was I was working with this coach, and one day he goes, hey, man, how come you don't ever tell your story about going to prison for 10 years? I said, I don't want people to know that. I don't want people to know that.
Yeah, we're all embarrassed of
Yeah,
that shit.
you know, like I was like, how this shame and guilt, like I'm trying to make a new life for myself. He goes, you're being hella selfish. I said, how am I being selfish? He was like, someone can hear your story and change their life because of you, but you won't share the story because you're afraid what someone else will think about you.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. So I did a video that day. I was like, hey, everyone, you know, I've been to prison and this and that. And like, now I talk about it all the time, like openly. Like, people are like, where'd you get your tattoos? Oh, during 10 years in prison. Oh, where'd you learn fitness? 10 years in prison. Like, I talk about it all the time because I want people to see, like, holy shit, this guy went to prison for 10 years and look what he's doing now. I can do it too.
Yeah, I look at you like a lot of people, like, you know, that just got caught up in the mix and, you know, doing drugs and just ended up in prison just based on just the moment. You know, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing here? And I know that wasn't what you wanted in life, but you didn't have no guidance. But yeah, if you want to talk to the youngsters, let them know anything else. You know, looking right into the camera, let them know.
Absolutely. The biggest thing is you don't have. So they say, here's the saying: a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a genius learns from someone else's mistakes. Learn from my mistake. Learn from Mister's mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of those in your life that are telling you to do otherwise. The street life ain't no joke. Prison ain't no joke. It ain't fun, right? Like, it's not fun at all. I tell people all the time when I go to the juvenile detention centers, I say, you guys think it's fun now, but when you get to prison, it ain't fun.
You probably learned this in prison. When you ask questions, you're a fool for the moment. But those dudes who don't ask questions are a fool for a lifetime.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, you know, don't be afraid to hit the homie up, ask him some questions, see if he's affordable, you know, try to jump on his plan. And, you know, don't be afraid to hit me up and ask me some questions. I mean, if I have some resources and stuff, I can shoot them your way. That's how a lot of us work. We work on credibility. I could send him some clients. He could send some people to me. You know,
absolutely.
Even to this studio, we could hook, you know, Johnny up with some clients, and you know,
for sure,
just keep networking. I think that's how a lot of people build, you know, and a lot of people see in this game, like especially in this rap game, a lot of people are afraid to reach out because they feel like, you know, oh man, I'm too prideful, you know, too egotistic to reach out. It's like, that's how the fuck you grow.
Absolutely.
You know, you got to reach out, you know. I would have never met these guys who made these beats. I would have never met these, Johnny if I didn't reach out to this person or that person, you know, and you would have never networked with me if you didn't see me reach out to somebody, you know, that you know and I know that I worked with, you know, so we both got something in common.
Yeah.
So that's how networking is important, you know. Don't be afraid to reach out, you know.
They say your net worth is your network.
Right. I heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, man, I'm proud of you, man, and
thanks, bro.
I'm a little older than you. I think I'm 5, 6, 7 years older than you.
Yes.
And you're on top of your shit, man. I look at you like at the same age as me. I don't look at you no less, man. You know.
Appreciate that.
And I hope everybody else looks at this guy the same way. And if you guys got something like this you want to bring to the platform, bring it on by, man.
Oh, by the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. And how can we get a hold of Paul on social media?
The Coach Paul. THE_Coach_Paul. The Coach Paul, because I'm the only one.
Right. Okay. And that's it, man. That's a wrap.